The dawn of civilization. Primitive. Dangerous. Exciting. The handwriting is on the wall. If the human race is ever going to amount to anything, it needs
the most civilized caveman I have ever seen.
Look who's come out of his cave.
Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in. This is James from Cave Dweller Music. I am here with my co-host Brendan, and today we are joined by Little Wolf of the project Isataii. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate you taking the time.
Awesome. How you guys doing? My name is Little Wolf, also known as Isataii, which is the name of the project. And thank you for having me. Honestly, I'm really stoked to be on the show.
Of course, anytime. For anyone who doesn't sort of know your music or know what you're about, do you want to just tell us a little bit about the project and what it is and what type of stuff you play?
Yeah, of course. So Isataii was a project started, I believe, back in 2021. It was always a one-man, but it was kind of during the quarantine when the whole COVID trip hit, and I wasn't playing any shows. There was no kind of musical outlet for me, so I was like, you know what? I just took it into my own hands to start this project and just keep releasing music, because as a creative person, you just need to keep releasing. And since then, it's just been nonstop, just putting out albums and just trying to get the name out there, trying to get it known out there, and for people to recognize it and just start supporting basically. And it was just a way for me to also to get deeper with my culture and involve my culture with my music. And that way people, could see that it wasn't just your, ordinary black metal band coming out. It had more meaning than just the music. It was more about like the message and, basically reaching down within yourself and, getting pride of your heritage, basically.
That's awesome. What kind of inspired the project? Like how did you kind of come to the idea that you wanted to do something like this to focus on the culture?
So basically for me, the main inspiration was, I've always had a passion for black metal, like almost my whole life.
It's awesome.
And, after that, I decided, because I've been in black metal bands all my life, and I wanted to make this one different, make it more, connected to me, make it more personal. So as well as music, culture has always been in my life as well. Being raised through Native American, my dad, my uncle would always, take us to powwows and, really educate us on our culture. And, I just felt like I really needed to do more with this project other than just making another black metal band. I wanted to connect this more with me and my life and all the things that make me who I am. And so that would just be black metal and my culture.
That's awesome. And what is the meaning behind the project name?
So Isataii is actually Comanche for Little Wolf. And
okay.
So he was a chief. And I guess my dad, at birth, I was his firstborn. So he was like, he really wanted to carry on the indigenous mindset. And he decided to give me the name Little Wolf. So I was like, what better name to give my one-man project than my name, but translated in Comanche.
That's cool. Is Comanche the tribe that your heritage is part of?
That's correct. Yes. So it's the Penateka Comanche. Penateka is the clan that's associated to the Comanche people, and their region was Texas, El Paso, Texas. Yeah. So a lot of my family's from out there. So that was the tribe that I always grew up with representing, and my dad always threw that name out there a lot. He has like the Comanche flag everywhere, so he made it pretty known who we were.
That's very cool. I love the fact that he actually raised you in that mindset of being part of your identity and actually embracing it and being proud of that. I love that.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, it was big for us. My dad always made it a point to make us proud of who we were and really understand who you are and carry your culture with you no matter what you decided to do in your life. It was always an important thing for us.
So how long have you been based in LA for? Have you been here for a while, or?
Oh, what was that question? I'm sorry.
How long have you been based in Los Angeles?
Oh, all my life. California was since I was born. Yeah, I was born and raised in California.
Nice. So I'm going to bring up the split that you just did because obviously that's the most recent thing that you've put out, and I did PR on that, so I definitely want to talk about it. It was with the Florida black metal band. Again, I apologize if this is pronounced incorrectly, but Svinfylking. How did you guys meet? Like, how did that happen? How did you come to collaborate?
So what happened was, I guess him, Noah, I believe his name was Noah, and his partner from Terminus, both did a review on my second full length by the name of Invoking in Darkness, and I guess I don't know. I guess they're really big fans of it, and Noah reached out to me saying that he had a black metal band himself, and he was really interested in doing a split with me. And I mean, I'm always open to working with different black metal projects because every black metal project out there has something new to bring to the table. So I was really happy when he told me, and I told him right away. I was like, yes, do it.
Awesome. It's kind of interesting because you guys have such different styles of black metal, but at the same
Yeah,
time, it also like it does work together. You kind of do complement each other in a like less obvious way. So I mean, and obviously they have like the more melodic side of things, really riff heavy. Um, but and yours is like very much more raw black metal. Um, like no frills, straight to the point. Yeah, but it works. Like honestly, like the two halves of the split really balance each other out well.
no, yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, their style is really different from ours, but
Hmm.
definitely, I believe splits should always be like that. I don't think bands on splits together should always sound alike because I feel like if that's the case, then might as well not release a split and just have one band do a full album.
Right,
So with these guys, it was cool because you get that style, and then you get my primitive raw style. So if you
right.
get that, you kind of get the best of both worlds in black metal. And me, I've always tried to carry the raw black metal sound because, I grew up with bands like, Bathory, Venom, Celtic Frost, stuff like that. And I
Nice.
was always like, I really admire the rawness and the purity of it. And that's the same thing I wanted to carry on through my music. I didn't want to get too produced. I didn't want to do, too much drum work, just nothing fancy. It was just really just
Yeah,
raw, straight to the point black metal. And I feel like that's the stuff that hits my soul. And I know there's a
right.
lot of raw black metal heads that will relate to that as well.
Definitely. That first wave stuff is like it's untouchable. It's something
Oh
special.
yeah, oh yeah, nothing compares to that for sure.
Brandon and I got super lucky actually, and we saw Hellhammer. They actually did a show
Oh wow,
at MDF last year, where they
yeah, that's
performed
awesome.
with like yeah, it was awesome, man. So Triptychon was playing as one of the headlining bands, and they also like well while we're here, we might as well do like a Hellhammer thing. So they did a full on like hour of or 45 minutes hour of Hellhammer, which was like that was like bucket
Man,
list stuff.
that's
Like
no legit. Like I'm so jealous. That's awesome because Hellhammer is one of my favorite bands. I actually have the Hellhammer logo tattooed on my left forearm. The one, and then I
really,
put
that's
like
awesome.
Nice.
what was it? Only death is real on the bottom. I was just
Yeah,
yeah, dude, that's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I've got a Hellhammer shirt that says that on the back actually. The
Oh yeah,
only
oh
death is
yeah,
real thing.
that's so sick. Oh yeah.
um yeah, Apocalyptic Rays, man. That is like something else. That
Man,
album absolutely
no,
rules.
it's untouchable. It's
It
untouchable. There's
is.
no way anything comes close. Legit. Like
Yeah,
you could try and make it sound so dirty and grimy, but you won't touch Tom Warrior's vocals with his riffs. It's just over.
100%. 100. Dude, he's my favorite vocalist. He's like my all-time favorite vocalist. Like just
Yeah.
from the stuff he did with like Hellhammer, through to the early Celtic Frost, and then you've got the later Celtic Frost stuff in Triptychon. It's just like he's so diverse. He's got such a unique style and voice. Like the dude's a god.
No, yeah, and it's crazy because he not only like innovated black metal, and not only like gave it the aesthetic, but also he also gave birth to funeral doom. And a few later on in his albums, he went really slow and really doomy and just got so
Yes.
dark that a lot of like funeral dooms now pay tribute to him because of that. So he innovated like two genres in my opinion. So that's enough
Right.
to say like wow, you know.
Yeah, and then like the Triptychon stuff that he did, like the last Cutting Frost album and the Triptychon stuff is like something else. Like no one else
Yeah,
does that sound.
definitely.
He's like he made something so unique with that. It's like I guess the best way to describe it is like avant-garde death metal. Like it's like you can't even really like put it in a box.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, it's like just the atmosphere he creates, like the vocal style he does. It's just fucking awesome. I could talk
Oh,
about
dude.
Celtic Frost and Triptychon like all day. Like those three
I
albums.
feel like we could just. I feel like we could just turn this whole podcast into a Celtic Frost memorial. Like, honestly.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah.
So obviously, you have that as an influence. Who else kind of stands out as influence? You said Bathory, Venom. Anyone else?
You know what? I'm gonna be 100% honest. I'm gonna have to say the real stuff that made me even want to like get going on black metal, as far as like playing and making music was I want to say Satanic Warmaster because those guys. I mean,
Okay.
Satanic Tyrant Werewolf is just for me, he's one of the riff gods. Like all of his riffs are just unbelievable, influential, and they definitely like helped me shape the style that I do for my music. Like if it wasn't for him, honestly, I don't think I would have ever officially started playing black metal.
The what did you think of that the new album from last year?
Oh man. So the artwork to start it off was amazing. Like I love how he like still kept it true with the werewolf and the skulls and just a brutal and he went colorful on this one. So that was really cool. That really got me by surprise. Because he's usually like with the whole black and white. But the album, I feel like that album was something that the black metal scene needed because I mean, I'm not trying to like, backtalk anybody, but I will say that it takes a lot these days to really stand out because everything's already been done. But what he did with that album, I feel like he just took it back to the roots, honestly. Like he got, really primitive, nothing overproduced. The riffs were there, the drums were there, and the vocals were definitely there. And I've been watching a lot of his live videos, and I'm like, finally, finally, like we're going back to where it started.
I think a lot of black metal bands these days are kind of like trying to do the like stripping back type thing.
Yeah,
Going back to the roots, like taking out the progressive and frill elements. Like I think a really good example of that was God, what are they called? Give me 1 second. Gra. So do you know Gra?
Oh, Gra, yeah, they're really good. I actually like them a lot.
Yeah, did you hear the new album?
I did.
Yeah,
And
they stripped it back. Like they took out all of the symphonic stuff, all of the like catchy stuff, and they just made it like it was just based back to bare bone basics, and that album absolutely ruled.
no, yeah, and that's what I'm saying though is that you don't have to have an overproduced album in order to reach fans. I feel like what this generation needs is a lot more primitive and just taking it back to basics. Like don't get me wrong, there is a lot of good studio bands that their sound is amazing, and maybe one day I'd like to put out a really produced album. But to me, the reason why I keep mine so simple is because all you really need is some good riffs, some good vocals, a good message, and I think you're straight, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. I was literally saying this to someone last night. Sometimes less is more. Like,
Oh,
you know what I
most
mean?
definitely.
It's like
Yeah,
sometimes stuff that's stripped down to bare bone basics is like the stuff that I crave and I want to listen to.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that goes with like black metal. That goes with for me too. Like I have a lot of roots in punk. Like I like
Yeah.
Minor Threat. I love From Choice. I love stuff like that. And what you notice about it is it's not produced at all. It's really like dirty, grimy, and it sounds
Yeah.
bad. But the
Yeah.
fact is that they had the vocals, they had the message, and they had the riffs, and it was just like the energy. That's all people wanted, and that's what got the fans, and that's what made them live down in time.
But that like bad production is what makes like crust punk and grindcore and power violence and stuff. It's
Agree.
part of the whole
Agree.
aesthetic of the genre. Like you can't have a highly produced album in that style.
No, no, you can't. it's like it'll take away the whole essence of it, in my opinion.
Exactly. It sounds stupid. Like it would ruin it.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, Brendan, I've been talking a lot. Did you have anything you wanted to ask or say?
Oh, of course. Well, so you're doing this solo project. You mentioned you were in a band before, maybe playing shows?
Yeah, so before Isataii, this is funny actually, because before Isataii, I am and was in a band called Cult of Odium, which was a three-piece from right here in Los Angeles, California. And that project consisted of a really good drummer by the name of Alex, also known as Chaos, the singer, Lord of Terra, John. And we just got together, made really primitive black metal. We played a bunch of shows around LA. And then once COVID hit, it was like a big hit for us because we're like, oh, we can't play shows, we can't do this. So I decided I didn't want my creativity to end there. So then, due to, all the factors that played, Coast of Odium broke up for a while. So then that was my chance. I was like, there's no way I'm going to not make music anymore because, I just got started and I don't want to cut it off. So that's when Isataii started. So you could say, honestly, Coast of Odium, Isataii is an extension of Coast of Odium. And it turns out it ended up being a really, known band and, getting out there, which I didn't expect, honestly, from where it started, but I'm really happy that it's been getting the feedback that it did, honestly.
Nice. Where were you guys playing? Like a bunch of bars and things like that?
Yeah, a lot of local bars. It was Bricks right there in downtown LA. And where else was it? We played I don't remember the bars exactly. I just know that the companies we were working with was Hate War Productions and what was it else? Death Camp and just a bunch of promoting places like that, which was really cool.
Nice. What was your the first instrument that you learned how to play?
The first instrument was I'm gonna say guitar for sure. Guitar was always my weapon of choice. Ever since I was a kid, watching my grandpa play flamenco guitar when I was, just right there in the living room. Yeah. I guess it just struck a nerve, and once I, picked up some strings, the rest is history.
Nice. When did you start learning to play other instruments?
What was that? You got cut off.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, when did you start learning to play other instruments?
Well, let's see. Bass was always a thing. Vocals, I always had trouble with vocals. And let's see, drums for me were always a very difficult aspect. And I'm going to say that I picked up an electric kit and I was like, okay, I know I suck at this, but I want to just try to make it the best I could. So it was a mix. The drums on all the albums were basically a mixture of electric drums and then my friend helping me correct the program drums and achieve what I wanted.
Nice. Cool. So you were learning to play the drums and whatnot. How long were you did that take you, like that process?
It was a really long process, but I decided, I was like, you know what? I think I could just give my ideas to my homie who was like, helping me program drums and, make life a lot simpler. Because I have jammed with a bunch of drummers all my life. Like, all my life I've been able to be blessed with jamming with really talented drummers. So I kind of have the rhythms and the beats in my head already. So I understood how transitions worked and everything. So, when I was jumping on drums and my friend was programming them, it was a really easy process because I already had visions of like what the drums were gonna sound like, what they were gonna be like on the albums.
Nice. So it was kind of like you were able to just get that done and make it sound the way you wanted. That's cool. Out of you said your favorite instrument, no, your first instrument was your guitar. What's your favorite guitar?
So I've had a good amount of guitars in my life. I have a bunch of BC Riches, Ibanez, Jackson. you know, ESPs. But honestly, currently I'm jamming an ESP. I think it's the black metal series that came out where like they decided to just make everything black on it. But to me, the feeling, like just like the neck, just the whole thing was really just felt really comfortable, really clean, and the riffs just flowed on that. So I guess I could say that's like my favorite guitar right now.
Nice. And did you use
And I
that
know
on your recordings or?
yeah. So on all the Isataii recordings, that ESP was on the albums for sure.
Nice. And then if James and I were gonna come by and hang out, where are we gonna go eat some food?
Oh man, I got the spots though. uh, let's see, where would we go? It depends. Are you guys into like Mexican food? Are you guys into
Oh yeah,
American food? It would all depend on
I
that.
ate everything except for like
everything.
weird shit like eyes and stuff. I'm not into that.
So I'm gonna say, let's see, where are we going to eat? Okay, so I got the spot. So basically, it's a place called Tortas Chingonas, and this place, I don't know if you guys know. You guys are familiar with tortas?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this place has like basically just the tortas are loaded, like a lot of meat, a lot of cheese, a lot of beans, a lot of avocado. It's just everything like good you want in a torta. And if you don't know what to eat, that's definitely the spot to go to because you'll be satisfied no matter what, for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna blow up your gut.
Nice.
You got any other questions, Brendan?
No, we're good.
Sweet. I was going to ask then. Oh, by the way, you're muted again.
It sounded like it was like a motorcycle or something outside his place.
Let's give him a second.
I get worried about that when the dogs are barking
okay.
and the door's open.
I'm sorry, you guys there?
Yeah, we're here. No worries. I was just going to ask. Like obviously you're in the LA underground scene. What are some bands that people should be checking out from that scene?
Let's see. You said underground bands that are from the scene.
Yeah, so obviously like who have you sort of like played with? Who's good live? Like that you check out? Like some local stuff from LA. What's good?
I'm gonna say there's a band called Wither Moon. I would say who else? Who else is standing out right now? Let's see. Wither Moon. There's Draconian Oracle. A lot of homie bands. Cultus Profano is a really good one right now.
Nice.
I think off the top of my head, as far as local bands around here, that's about it. The live scene is kind of like I want to say it's dying out right now. And it's sad, but because when I was younger, the black metal scene was super big, and there was so many good bands coming out right now. And to see the way it is now, it's kind of sad. I'm like, I really think it needs a revival on, the true spirit of black metal out here because it used to be there, but I guess a lot's changed over the years. So when I got back into it, it was just really different from what I remember.
It's just, I mean, I've heard as well that a lot of the like classic underground venues in LA have shut down since COVID, which is a massive shame.
Mm.
Yeah, COVID had played a big factor in that, to be honest. It was really sad to see. It was really sad to see, shows shutting down, people canceling.
Yeah.
Just COVID really affected a lot of people, and for me, like. It almost killed my spirit. So if it hadn't been for Isataii, like I probably would have just put down the guitar and just probably not touched it for a good while.
Yeah, I we have a mutual friend in LA that's in a grindcore band, and he said like a lot of the places that they used to play like just gone. So he's actually doing a lot more house shows now.
Oh, okay.
And that's he's like, well, it's kind of shifted in that direction because the places that everyone used to play, like all these like bars that did grindcore shows and stuff, just gone from COVID. So it's kind of they've had to go like to the house scene.
Yeah, so that's really cool though. I mean, yeah, because that's where it has to come down to. It's just taking it back to the primitive, because it's all about the love and passion for the music. And to be honest, like that's where it's at, and that's where it comes from, and that's where the spirit is. So if you have that, that's all you need, really, to be honest. So
Yeah, exactly. And like those shows have like such good energy. Like I've seen videos of him playing and stuff. And his name's Nicholas Turner, by the way. The band that he had, the Grand Corbaz Moldering Vibration.
Yeah,
And
good.
great band. And yeah, I've seen videos of those shows, and it's just like there's so much crazy energy at those like underground grindcore shows.
yeah, that's what it is, though. That's what I'm telling you, is that if you can appeal to the people in the most simplest form, that's all that matters. That's all that matters, and that's what people want right now. People don't want big venues anymore. People just want to hear the music at its most primitive and rawness.
Right. And I think like the whole thing with Ticketmaster, like all that bullshit that's going on, with Live Nation, Ticketmaster, and all that stuff, like I think that's turning some people off of the big bands and the big shows.
Yeah, man.
Like
I went to go see Fit for an Autopsy, and if I went through if I didn't go basically directly through the venue, it would have cost me almost double or triple the amount. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
That's bullshit, dude.
You see on the website it's like $45 at the door or something like that, and then you're like, or I could buy the same ticket for $90 or $130, and it's like, no way.
Exactly.
It's insane.
It's like half the ticket price. It's absolutely fucking bullshit. And it's a scam. It's like racketeering. I can't say enough negative things about what I think of Ticketmaster. Yeah, screw those guys. Honestly, they're literally destroying the music scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of the major companies right now that are really, making it hard for people to really connect with the music, honestly. And all people want to do out there right now is just go to shows and support. And with everything that's going on right now, I feel like it's only making it more challenging for people. So that's why people are reaching out to more of the underground, because the underground is still human related. Human, it's
right.
itself.
That's
right,
one of the
exactly.
main reasons why I ask about where your favorite venues are and places that you play, because it's it's important, figure it out. Maybe people that are listening, hopefully be like, oh, I'm in that area, let's go check out this spot or this and that, or go support it later,
Yeah.
And I have to give praise where it's due. TicketWeb is awesome. Those dudes.
Yeah, TicketWeb, I've never had a problem with them as far as purchasing tickets and going to shows. So I will give it to them. For sure, they deserve the credit, because a lot of those other major ticket places are really trying to burn
gouge
people,
you.
and really, and so that's cool for TicketWeb.
Yeah, I mean TicketWeb is what? It's $4 or $5 or something. I don't care about paying that. That's nothing. I totally fine with giving them that money.
Yeah, definitely. And for me, it's there's still some ones out there that are, keeping it true, but I feel like it's just media, just media trying to take advantage of people's passion for the music.
Right, exactly. I did see oh god, what's the dude's name? The lead singer of The Cure. I'm trying to think of his name.
Oh yeah. He's actually giving back to the people. What I saw too.
Exactly. Yeah. He kind of pushed TicketWeb into a position where they had to give people a partial refund of their processing fees.
Yeah, and that's cool that he did that, because he comes from you see, but the thing is that it makes sense, because he comes from the time where it was just about music, and he comes from a time where he was playing these little bar shows, little clubs. He understands the human aspect of it, and that's what's really cool about him, because not only is he a great musician, but he's also someone who understands, this is how it should be. People shouldn't be taken advantage of like that.
Exactly. Robert Smith is the name I was trying to think of.
Yeah, Robert Smith. There you go.
Yeah. Good for him. Honestly, that's awesome that he did that.
I would have done the same thing. Honestly, I would definitely do the same thing. Just give back.
Right. And I'm not a fan personally. My wife is a big fan, but the fact that Taylor Swift actually made a massive deal of going against their decision, like their fees and processing fees and their algorithm and stuff. Like I think that's all, like it's going to take those big artists saying something to actually change it. You know, like underground people have no say, they have no like sway over this type of thing. But if those big names like her that are selling out like stadiums nationwide actually like say something and do something about it, that's how you're going to get that real change.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it sucks because, well, that's what's good, but it's rare, when you get someone who's really known, but that can still, reach down and appeal to, a fan, or fans in general.
Right. Yeah, understand where they're coming from, like what
Exactly.
people's problems are with the system.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like I know I mean, I really hope that that government investigation into like the monopoly that they have on the scene. I hope that I hope they get broken up. Like I want the company to get broken up so they
Definitely.
don't have that control.
I agree. I agree with that for sure.
Yeah, it's they have a complete monopoly.
It's a sad time. It's a sad time.
Yeah, it is, and like I mean, there's a couple of companies that are kind of like that just own everything. It's like Disney's so bad for it. Like that company like owns everything.
For sure. For sure. They're one of the worst ones, actually.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like they have that whole like family friendly image and stuff, but then they just buy everything, corrupt. Absorb everything, and then pay their staff like absolute minimum wage. We're making them work like maximum hours. It's like, yeah, it's like such a weird fake image of being like wholesome and family friendly and stuff, while just being an evil corporation.
Yeah, and it's really corrupt. It's sad because you would think like as when they started, it was just to appeal to children, families, and love and all that. But when it really comes down to it, it's just about money, and that's all they're trying to do.
Right. Yeah, and I always wonder like what's like Walt Disney, if he was still alive, would think of what they've become.
I mean, I think he went for a reason, because once everything would have went corrupt, then that's for sure when he would have probably been booted off of his own company, because he was another person who was very, human-like, and a lot of companies lose that as popularity is gained, just like bands. Bands forget to be humans. They forget that they were fans at one point as well, and they enjoyed the same things as well.
Exactly, dude. That's a really, really good point. Like that point where bands become they lose self-awareness and they move past like the fan base, and they kind of become this thing where they're above like the people that actually support them, and I hate that.
Agreed. Yeah, money destroys a lot of things. Money destroys a lot of things that should be pure, and it just corrupts it.
Right, exactly. And like I always respected people that were big but kept it super real. Like Ronnie James Dio is like a prime example that always comes to mind. Like,
oh man,
the dude was a legend. But like, have you seen that documentary that came out? I think it was earlier this year, last year. Dude, how good was that?
I did.
Awesome.
Honestly, I'm gonna tell you guys straight out. Like, I don't want to sound like a pansy, but like, I cried. I cried at the end of it.
I teared up a little bit. I teared up a little bit too. Honestly, I'll admit it. Yeah, that was like that hit hard when the last part where they're talking about his death and stuff.
Yeah, it was everything. Honestly, it was his story, his upbringing. It was just really sad. It was just really. It showed you where he came from. It showed you how he went from like nothing to the God that he became.
Right.
And that was the beauty of it. And
like I had no idea that he was like way before before Elf. He had all that like classic like what genre was it? Like crooner stuff, like Tom Jones type shit. I had no idea he did all that stuff, and like with his early music when he was young, like the dude's got such range.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, yeah, and like I said, it's the legends. It's the legends that we need to learn from.
Right.
The ones that we need to really look back and be like, okay, if I'm gonna do anything and I'm gonna make it successful in anything, let me just take example from them, because this generation can't really offer anything as far as knowledge or how to be a true a true supporter, a true fan, a true musician, a true anything, a true creator. It all comes from the past, for sure.
Right. And like I brought him up because of the fact that like right through to when he died, he was the guy who would hang out with fans after the show and like talk to people and stuff. Like,
Definitely.
do you remember the Puffin documentary where the guy's like he remembered like my dad was sick after he met me at a concert like 6 years prior or some shit. Like that's
that one
the
one
stuff.
hit. That comment hit because I was like, I know for sure. Because with me, I know I'll never be a godlike deal, but whatever impact I can make on anybody, on fans, because I do get a lot of fans reaching out, and one thing that stuck out for me was I'm gonna see if I could find the comment. Give me a second. I just want you guys to hear this because this is probably the most amazing comment I've ever received from a fan, and it just really motivated me to be where I'm at and to keep going because I've almost tried to quit so many times. Okay, so here goes. He says, "It is a different feeling to ingest art that feels so, how should I say, potent and honest. I get that from your works. Never compromise your gift. What you do is amazing, and may that well of your creativity never run dry. You need not say thanks. Us, the fans, should be grateful to artists like yourself. It's people like you who give us the opportunity to be voyagers in worlds made of the most primordial sounds. And that's an experience I should always treasure." So after I read that, I was just like, yeah, no,
That's awesome.
I'm doing something right. That's what I'm saying. Like when he
That's
said
awesome,
that,
man.
I literally screenshotted it, saved it, and will forever hold that if I ever feel any kind of like discouragement or anything. This guy, and what's crazy is that this guy was from Cuba.
Wow.
He's a Cuban fan.
That's awesome.
So not only like is it a great comment, but it's a great comment that came from someone you would least expect, somewhere you would least expect your music even reached.
Right.
It was just so I just had to share that with you guys because that's the best, honestly.
That's
And
cool.
I'm always communicating with fans too. Like a lot of people trip out. They're like, oh, that's crazy. That's really cool of you to still reach out to your fans, to still communicate.
Yeah.
And that's something that any artist should, because if it wasn't for the fans, you would be nothing.
Right.
No matter what. The fans are everything.
So, I mean, you know that I do music PR, obviously, because I worked on the album that you put out, Split. But like, I think my biggest piece of advice I would give anyone who's in a band is engage. Just engage. Like, like not just with fans, but like if someone takes the time to write a review of your album, share it and say thank you.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that shits me off. Like, so like obviously like we review stuff on our website and stuff. Like when you have a band that's like a smaller band with like 200 or 300 followers and you write a review of their album and they don't share it or thank you, I'm like what's wrong with you? You know what I mean? Like
I mean, they don't care. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's funny that you bring that. That's funny that you bring that up because I'm sorry to interrupt, but
no, go ahead.
On Bandcamp, I swear, even if people purchase one song, I'm literally like, I will direct message them and be
awesome.
Thank you so much for your support. Thank you. I'm very honored to have your support. And I just always leave that. Even when people purchase stuff, I always throw in little extras, like little, people will always ask me like, oh, can you sign my album? I'll be like, you know what? The honor is mine. Because they try to say thank you. I'm like, no, like, thank you. Because if it wasn't for you, I don't even think I'd have any motivation to do this, honestly. Like, the fans are the only thing that motivate me right now. It's not listening to music. It's nothing. It's literally just the feedback and their support. And when they share your stuff and when they buy your stuff, even when they give you a comment that way, for me, that's just everything. I always give back to the fans because I'm just truly, truly blessed to have supporters.
That's awesome, man. I applaud you for that because that's the stuff that makes a huge difference.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's the human aspect. It's the human aspect. You got to keep it. Like podcasts like yourselves, like what you guys do. A lot of people don't listen to podcasts or don't want to take the time, but I'm like, these people are literally so dedicated to music, to whatever they want to talk about, that they decided to take the time out of their days to do this in order to really give it the proper devotion and to reach out to people who share the same passions. And that's why I love doing interviews. Like when I got hit up with this interview from you guys, I was like, yes, right away. Like, I want to do this. I don't care who's going to interview me. I want to just speak to everybody. I want to talk and share my opinions with everybody and listen to everybody's opinion.
Yeah, thank you, man. We appreciate
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Like,
Of course.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So we're kind of coming up on time here. So I had a couple of questions I wanted to ask before we ran out.
Of course.
What have you been listening to this year? Like, what stood out so far in 2023? Anything that you want to recommend to people?
That's a very, very, very good question. So this year, let's see.
Or last year, honestly, 2022 is like not that long ago. Anything from last year or this year?
Okay, honestly, I'm gonna be 100% real. I haven't been listening to anything new because, like I said before, like, I don't want to put anybody down. But a lot of stuff that really holds spirit is the older albums, the older artists, and so what I have been listening to a lot lately is let's see. So I don't know if you've heard of a band called Enthroned,
Oh yeah,
a black metal band.
yeah.
And yeah, so their early albums, like their first three, I think, I want to say, still hold so much inspiration because it's so primitive. You know, them along with Gorgoroth's older albums, like, you know, Pentagram Antichrist, like that's the stuff that still has the spirit, you know. And so I'll always be reaching back to older stuff. But lately, like, if you want to talk about right now, I want to say, what was it? I was listening to Slayer, Show No Mercy, Hell Awaits albums. Also, I was going back to, what was it? I think Batteries Return, the Return album.
Nice.
So the atmospheres on that, I'm like, you know what? I'm trying to still capture that. I don't think I'll ever truly achieve it because these guys were like gods, you know. Like Patron was an amazing musician,
right?
And then the way Slayer used to write is just, you know, it's great. But yeah, so I want to say that that's really what I've been listening to.
I actually went back to Slayer this week as well. I went back and listened to the first like 4 albums. This week.
Dude, you have to pay them tribute, keep them alive.
Exactly, man. Like they're one of those bands where like every couple of months or something, I'll just go back and listen to like the whole discography from the start right through to oh god, what's the album? South of Heaven. Like
yes.
Yeah, that first album through to that is like perfection.
Because they had the greats in there. They had Dave Lombardo, which is, you know, my all-time favorite drummer. You know, Jeff Hanneman, you know, rest in peace. And, you know, Kerry King, back when he used to, you know, be able to write good riffs. No offense, but, you know,
no, I agree.
You know, when Tom Araya used to be able to scream. You know?
Yep. Actually, no, I take that back. Right through to Seasons in the Abyss is where it's perfection. Like
true. Because I feel South of Heaven kind of was taking them more toward, like, it was too produced. South of Heaven was way too produced, in my opinion.
Yeah. It had some amazing songs though. Like, I'd love to have heard it recorded differently. Yes,
the songwriting was good, but I think what killed it for me was the production. If it had been just like Season in the Abyss, I would have definitely I think it would have sounded a lot better, to be honest. But
and I always felt like Christ Illusion was like a bit of a comeback album, like kind of a return to form a little bit for them. But people will like shit on that album sometimes, but I actually thought it was decent.
I mean, you know, to each his own. You know, honestly, whatever reaches you. It's just for me, like, I feel like I tuned out of Slayer after that South of Heaven album. I just kind of just like lost it. I was like,
no, I get it completely. That's how I feel with Metallica after Justice for All, man. Like, I don't give a shit about literally anything they did after Justice for All. I tried listening to that new one they released this week, and I was like, dude, this is so goddamn boring. It's like, and then I literally just like, I got like halfway through a song and I just stopped playing it. And I was like, I'm just gonna go back and listen to like Ride the Lightning or something. You know, like why am I listening to this?
Oh, dude, that's me all the time. Like, I'm always going back because like Ride the Lightning, Kill 'Em All, Master of Puppets, like those
great albums.
Those will never be touched. Yeah.
And like I think everything they did right from the start through to Justice for All was solid as hell. I just like I have no idea what they were thinking with the bass on Justice for All though.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
So weird. It was like, such a weird choice.
Yeah, it really was, and I was just like, okay, I mean, I get it. You guys are trying to transition from the Cliff Burton era,
Yeah,
but
you need some
I mean,
bass though.
what could you do? What could you do
Yeah,
really? Like, you just lost a great bass player.
right.
You're still a big band, so you got to keep putting out. So I guess they just made the most like conscious decision they could, in my opinion. But
Yeah, no, I understand where they're coming from, but like I've heard those people did those remasters online where they added the bass or up the bass, and it sounds fantastic.
yes, yes, and that's when you realize how important bass actually is. Like, I feel like bass doesn't
Underrated,
get enough credit. Yeah, it
dude.
doesn't get enough credit because I will literally like write my music. And when I first started, I was like, I've never written full bass parts, so like, how do I do this? And I was like, maybe I can get away with not writing bass. So I tried
Right.
it like on like 2 songs, and I would listen back to it. I'm like, man, it sounds so empty. Like, this
Yeah,
is
completely.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, and then you drop the bass on it, and it's just like it just takes it to another level. Like, you can't go without bass. I'm sorry.
right. Anyone who's read like my reviews, I mention bass in almost every album review I write. Like you have to talk about bass. Bass is so goddamn important, and like there are some
Mhm.
bands that show you how important bass is. Like Primus, Les Claypool, that dude like is in a different
Love it.
fucking
Oh
level.
man.
Um,
Whoa. Yeah.
That's the man.
yeah, and like
That guy's so talented.
he
So
is,
much talent.
man. He is. He's like he plays an
mad.
instrument. He trying to think what the instrument's called. He plays this instrument that like not many people on earth even play. God, what's it called? He played it on the South Park. The South Park had like a 30th or 20 something. No, I think it was 30th.
Oh, the one with like the big knobs at the end where you bend them.
Yeah. That one.
That was wild, and he was doing that and still holding down melodies, dude. I had no idea. I was like, yes, like whatever
Exactly.
you're doing, bro, just keep it going. Yeah.
I'm trying to think what the instrument's called. It's something. Oh, Wamola. That's what it's called.
Wow, I've never heard of that instrument. That's wild.
Yeah, it's like a super rare. Brendan, have you heard it? Have you seen it?
No, I'm actually just Googled it and Wemola came up.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. It's like a giant.
bendy
I don't know. It's
violin looking
just
thing.
a giant thing of strings that you use like a violin to like a bow to play.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's got like a whammy
Like,
bar.
it's
at
like
the
it's
top.
it's like an alien instrument. Like, it was sent down from somewhere else. Like, it wasn't even.
It's a direct descendant of the wash tub bass.
Yeah,
What?
it's crazy.
So it's in the bass family. So that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just a bass god. Plays all bass. So I don't know how true this is, but I did read somewhere that he actually auditioned for Metallica.
I saw that. I think it came out in the documentary.
Yeah, I think it
He
was right.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Some
they
kind
like,
of monster,
basically
I think.
said like, yeah, some kind of monster. That's where it was, and they were like, "You're too talented." I'm sorry, you're too talented. Like, we don't.
I
need
mean, bro,
songs.
like,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
because it's like if you throw less in there, what's gonna end up happening? He's just
He'll
gonna
outshine everyone.
overpower everyone.
Psychedelic thrash.
Yeah, but I also like I wish I want to hear it so badly. Like I want to hear what that would have
Yeah,
sounded like.
just to hear it, because I
They
mean,
gotta
to
give it
me,
a
honestly,
try.
James Hetfield is a great musician. Like, for sure, he's one of my top favorite guitar players. But I feel like he is Metallica. Like, you can't have Metallica without him. But I feel like Les would have just gotten his riffs, played those, and then played his bass on top of that, and just done everything. So it's like, why even have anybody?
Yeah, just him and James.
That's it, bro. That's all you need. Get a drum
Yeah.
machine instead of Lars.
Oh goddamn! Yes, please. Anyone but Lars.
It should have been Lars.
I I had a Facebook memory.
I saw a shirt that said that, and it was funny because, like,
It is funny. I had a Facebook memory come up like a few weeks ago. When I saw Metallica live for the first time. I posted a status, I guess, that said, Lars found his way to the drum kit on stage. It's off to a good start. Like,
oh man, that's rough.
dude,
That's funny. That's hilarious.
he sucks, man. Like he holds them back so much, and like I don't know. I've seen people defend him and be like, "Nah, man, like his style like works with the band." I'm like, it works in the band because it has to. Like anyone could replace that dude. But
Yeah.
we're not here to talk shit. We're over time, so I'm gonna ask you two more questions. One is hang on, we've lost you. There you go. So I have two questions left.
You're good.
One is if you were trapped on a desert island and you had a solar powered Discman and you could only have 3 CDs to tide you over until you got rescued, what would those albums be?
Bro, that's like honestly, I think the best question I've ever been asked on an interview. Thank you. So I'm gonna say, we're taking Show No Mercy for sure. You just can't. You gotta go with that. We're taking Show No Mercy. I'm gonna take Deal's Holy Diver for sure.
Nice,
You have to take
nice.
that too. And then let's see, my third one. I think
don't feel like it has to be metal. It doesn't have to be metal.
Oh no, I was gonna say because like I already gave you my metal. I was trying to think of like my most unmetal album, but I'm gonna take it anyways. I don't know if you guys ever heard of a band called Héroes de Silencio. It's like a Spanish rock band.
No.
So their songs are really like new wave, dark wave influenced.
Nice.
It's and it's like Spanish rock, so it's really cool, rock in español. And I'm gonna take their album. What album am I taking from that? Honestly, I'll probably take like their first album, to be honest, because they didn't really release much. So I'll probably take the El Mar No Cesa. If you guys check that out at all, trust me, like it's so inspirational. Honestly, it's really cool how they just blend everything.
Can you can you send me that name on Instagram?
Oh yeah, for sure. I got
this
you.
because I want to look them up.
Yeah, either that one, non-metal wise, either that one, or I'm gonna go with I don't know if you guys ever heard of the band The Cult.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, so their electric album, I'm taking that. So it's either between that one and Héroes de Silencio. So
awesome. Yeah, great to have that like that mix in there because some people like just do like 3 heavy albums. Like, dude, you got to have something to.
No, you got to balance it out.
Variety.
If you're gonna be out there, stranded.
Yeah.
I mean, I love metal.
It could be forever. Who knows?
Exactly.
I do have my emotional side of my life, and metal definitely takes care of the aggression. But I need something that's gonna mellow me out. So I'm gonna go with
too,
like
man.
what I just gave you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to have something different. Like for me, like I mix it up all the time. So like I'll do like a death metal album and then a black metal album, but then I'll do like some folk music or like world music, like like.
Oh, that's awesome! Hell yeah!
Like something.
Yeah.
something
I was thinking about like doing like a couple soundtracks or something, or like you get some kind of mix.
Yeah, you got to mix it up.
Like a playlist, I remember back in the day when they had like when you would burn CDs, you could put like any song on there.
Yeah,
and I had my mixes. I had like black metal mix, death metal mix, and then I'd be like all music mix, and I would put like new wave stuff. I'd put some Spanish rock in there. I'd throw some like some blues, like just chill stuff.
Yeah. Oh, actually, so I meant to ask you this. I'm going to ask you this now. We do like a mental health charity sample every year called Mind Over Metal.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, do you want to be on that? Do you want to contribute a track to that?
Oh hell yeah, dude! Please, I support mental health so much. Like it's such a big deal right now, and I feel like a lot of people need help. So yes, for sure.
Sweet, I'll talk to you about that after this. But I was bringing it up because like when Brendan and I do like the track listing, we always try to get some like as much variety in the way we line up the tracks as possible. So we'll do like a heavy song, and then like a really long song that's like more atmospheric, and then something super punchy, aggressive, and then like another bigger heavy song. Like you gotta have you gotta have the variety. You gotta mix it up, break it up.
Yeah, because us as humans, we're always feeling different ways. It's not like we're always feeling aggressive. We're always feeling mad. Like we also feel happiness and sadness and stuff too. So you have to have things that'll compensate for all that.
Right, and like for me personally, I don't know about you guys, but like I'll take good atmosphere in a song over technicality any day of the week.
Always. Even when you go back to listen to blues like Robert Johnson and stuff like that, like he wasn't even doing anything technical. It was literally a dude with an acoustic singing. That's it. That's all I needed.
Yes. Same with like a Howlin' Wolf, like
Howlin' Wolf.
Like, love him, dude. Amazing artist. Like, and it's so simple, but it's so goddamn good.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, that's all you need. Like even when you want to really put it into perspective, even Johnny Cash, if you've ever like listened to all of his music, like
Yep.
it was always super simple, just strumming
Yeah.
some chords. And his
Right. But it's
voice,
so good.
that's it, dude. It'll just set the whole standard. That's it. It's over.
It's the same with the Doors. Like the Doors is so basic, but it's
Oh
such
my
good
God,
music.
yes. Yes. And look how
Yep.
long those songs have lived on.
Yeah, they're it's like immortal, they're eternal.
Timeless.
Yeah.
Did you hear
Yeah,
that
even Ramones.
did you hear that new song that they found last year?
The new
No.
song that they found from who?
The Doors.
No, I didn't hear about this.
They
That's
they
wild.
found like an old original like the original recording of like a song that had never been released. And
Wow. That,
they
and
released it last year.
you gotta send that to me too. You gotta send that to me too, because I did not hear that, but I would love to hear that.
It's really good, dude. It's like super bluesy. Like fantastic. And it's just this like a hidden gem that no one knew existed.
That's
Man,
awesome.
that's really cool. I love that they're doing that because I think there's a reason why they're doing stuff like that. Just like I mean, I know this is like so unmetal, but I'm a big fan of Linkin Park, and when they found that lost song of theirs too, like it was really cool
Right.
because it's like, people need that. That's what people are looking for, that old spirit, that's why they're doing that. They're trying to discover if there was still more of the past that we don't know, because I feel like we need that, and I'm glad that they're doing that too. So that's really cool about that Doors track.
Right. Also, never apologize for liking Linkin Park. I like Linkin Park.
Dude, yeah. I mean, you know what? For me, like, when I was a kid growing up back in the '90s, dude. I mean, the 2000s. It was just like my first heavy introduction to heavy music was,
That was
man,
what was there.
Deftones, Limp Bizkit, Linkin
Yeah,
Park,
man.
Korn. Like, it's just all that, bro. That whole era was just amazing.
Exactly. Like I'm actually going to be writing an article at some point when I find the time about that exact thing. I want to write a
Oh,
piece
yes.
basically about new metal and like why it gets shit on so much and like the weird attitude that metalheads have towards it. Because like
It was just the whole thing. It was like the style, the music, the
yeah,
aesthetic, like just everything, dude. Everything that was happening.
like for me, I say this on like every fucking podcast, but I love Korn. I unapologetically I love Korn, dude. I think they're
They
incredible.
are
Like
great musicians. All of them.
yeah.
All of them.
And what I respect the most about them is they never ever stuck to the same sound. Like every album
No.
is different. They were never scared of like bringing in other genres and never scared of like pushing the envelope, like trying different things. Like they did whatever they wanted to do and they didn't give a shit what people thought. And I love that.
Yeah, it was just
I was
heavy.
I was scared. Yeah, I was scared about their new album because, like I said, a lot of new albums that are coming out aren't really impressive. But honestly, Korn's last album, it blew me away. I cranked it at least, I think, 3 times a day all week for
I
sure.
need to revisit it because like I listened to it once and I was like, but I think I need to like sit down and
Yeah,
give it
you need to
another go.
revisit it because it sits with you. Like I think each song is a different day. So if you just dedicate some time and then just really get into that, like
Yeah.
it'll show you.
Right. Okay. I'll give it another go. Like for me, like everyone loves their first album. Like don't get me wrong, I absolutely love their first album. It's like a masterpiece. But I love my favorite Korn album is actually Issues.
Issues. Wow, that was a really good one. I remember Issues had a. It was funny that you bring that up. They had an art contest. People submitting their artwork to get on their album cover,
Uh-huh.
and it was this big old thing. And I used to like to draw a lot, and obviously my artwork wasn't that great, but I was like, I love Korn. I was like,
Uh-huh.
if I could even send them anything, I was like, I'm down. So as a kid, I sent them my artwork. I never heard anything back, but it's all good because I got to send it to
Yeah,
my.
at least you did it, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, all right, awesome. So I'm gonna ask you one more question and then we're gonna wrap it up.
Uh-huh.
If people want to follow you on social media or listen to you and buy your music, what are the best places to do that?
I'm gonna be honest and say Instagram is my big one. That's where I communicate with people the most. And if they want to just visit my Instagram, and that's where to reach me. That's the spot. And another one would be Bandcamp. I mean, honestly, I'm not here to make money. Honestly, if people want to buy my stuff, I'm honored. But honestly, for me, I just feel like if you want my complete discography and you want to hear stuff since the beginning, that's where to go. Bandcamp. And then third, a big one is Metal Archives. Metal Archives doesn't lie. That thing has everything. That thing has everything you want to know.
That's my Bible,
When we
dude.
started.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, exactly. So if you hear about anything, that's where to go. So if you go on my Metal Archives, everything since the beginning is there. Since the very first single, it's all there.
I actually don't know what I would do without Metal Archives, honestly. Like,
I don't know
I
what anybody would do without it. Honestly, it's like any band you find, it's like okay, I need to know. I want to know everything about this band. Metal Archives.
yeah, yeah. If
Yeah.
they shut down, I'd be like absolutely devastated. You know, like
We'd find a way to buy it, figure it
yeah,
out.
they're essential, man. They're like the scene needs them.
I would raise money
Yeah,
to keep them going.
yeah.
Put
Right.
it that way.
The only two websites I really use for that stuff is them and Sputnik Music.
I've never heard of Sputnik. That's crazy.
Oh, they're
What is
great
that?
too, man. Like, cause like they're the best alternative for non-metal bands. Like,
Oh
if
wow.
you
Okay.
if you
Well,
ever need
I
to,
mean,
to
yeah.
look
Like if
up,
you want to look up any band, yeah.
yeah, like they have like the discography. They have like how you classify them genre-wise. But they have reviews of the albums. Like, it's very similar type thing.
Yeah, honestly, I want to check that out because there is sometimes when I'm trying to reach music that isn't metal, and
Yeah,
I want to know more about it, and I just don't know
right.
where to go. So I appreciate you telling me that.
And the best thing about them, like this is a feature that you should definitely use if you check them out, is they do like top like rated lists. So you can look up
Yeah.
like a certain genre and you look up best albums by year.
What? Wow,
Yeah,
that's really
yeah.
sick.
I found so much good music that way, man. I just go on like and check out like, oh, what's like top trending, like top rated albums in like death metal, what's black metal, like they have everything though. So like hip hop, like anything you want to do, it's on there. It's a really cool way to find like shit you missed, basically.
That's kind of like a double-edged sword, honestly, because sometimes you want to know like what's the best, but then you have to understand like you don't know where that best is coming from. Like
Right.
sometimes you got to really just get in there and be like, okay, I'm gonna listen to because I've done that too. I go on YouTube and I'm like, okay, best black metal of 2023 or best death metal of 2023, and a lot of the bands I'll already know, and I'm just like, okay, well, I'm not gonna say it's the best, but I guess according to popular demand, yes, it is. So
Right.
a lot of times it's hit or miss, but you're right though, honestly.
I actually used it to find some of the classic death, like how like OSDM, old school death metal stuff from the 80s and 90s. There's like some of those obscure one-hit wonder bands that did like an incredible album and then disappeared.
True.
I used that list. I looked up like death metal top albums all time, and I found so many good like albums I had no idea existed that were on that list.
And these were underground bands, not like Suffocation.
Yeah, man. Like it was a mix. It was a mix. So it's like there's like the bigger bands. It's like top rated of all time. So it's like you got the big name bands, but there's some like obscure one hit wonders on that list. And I was like, oh shit, I haven't heard this. And let's do like this is.
And it's cool because
amazing.
if it wasn't for that, you would have never like added
Right.
that to your arsenal. So yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
that's cool though. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, we're like way over time, but it's totally cool. It's been an awesome conversation. So I just want to say,
No, yeah, definitely.
thank you for coming on the podcast. We appreciate you taking the time and talking to us. And it was honestly great chatting with you.
No, honestly, guys, I really appreciate this so much, and I'm very honored to have been on Cave Dweller. I even like made a flyer. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I was just so stoked for it because you guys have such a sick logo. And
Thank you.
yeah, and I just want to throw some shout outs if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
All right, so I want to give a shout out to the label that released my most recent full length, Adirondack Black Mass Productions. I want to send a shout out to this Native American black metal band called Burnt Lodge, Goyo Keatsley. I'm gonna go with who else are we out there with? Yeah, so Koyo Keatsley and Burnt Lodge are really good black metal bands coming up right now. I know everybody know Mutilated Tyrant, Pan American Native Front for sure.
Oh, they're awesome, dude. I love Pan American Native Front.
Yes, like I didn't even know about them until like I made Isataii and they started following me, and I went on their page and I was just like, dude, where was this? Like, why didn't I come across this? What happened?
Yeah.
Like, where did I miss this at?
I actually reviewed their most recent full length for the day it came out.
It's good. It's
Yeah,
so
it is.
good. And it's crazy because these are just like some hardcore Navajo black metal dudes from Arizona, and I'm like, hell yeah, dude! Like,
Yeah,
that's
what was it called?
that's where I'm at,
Little Turtles War, right? That was it. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and you wouldn't expect that, right? You wouldn't expect this to be such a brutal album, but it is, and these guys have so
Yeah.
much spirit. Like,
Yeah.
So,
We did a
but yeah. So
we actually did a Native American theme week in last year on Indigenous Peoples Week.
oh, cool.
And
Cool.
one of our writers reviewed the latest split as well, the one with Commodus. I think it's called like Immortal Ceremonies. And again, awesome album.
What? That's so sick. Hell yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so no, honestly though, the pleasure is mine, guys. Thank you so much. And please keep it up. Keep up these podcasts. People need to hear this stuff. People need to hear you guys. You guys are really cool dudes.
You too, man.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah. So everyone listening at home, thank you so much for tuning in, and come back next week for another guest.